Hi guys, so this is a Figma crash course and I'm going to be walking you through on everything you need to know concerning Figma. So if you are aspiring to be a UI or UX designer, this is a perfect course for you to follow because I'm going to be walking you through auto layouts, how to prototype, variants, components and much more. So stay with me as we explore this class. Before we dive into the main course of this class, what is UI or UX design? UX design, which is the user experience, is all about finding a problem and solving it. It can also be defined as creating an app or a website which is user friendly. Moving to the second one, which is the user interface, it's all about the visual aspect of a product, making it very presentable for its audience to access. Now that we have known the differences between the UI and UX, we are going to be diving into the Figma features. Hi guys, so if you have downloaded Figma, this is what you should be seeing on your home screen. These ones are projects I've worked on, don't be scared. By my left side down here, you will see Praise Team, you will see Team Project, you see Create New Team. This whole tab here is dedicated for collaborations. When you want to collaborate with other designers, this is the tab you go to. But if you can look, my own is showing locked. If you can see it there, it's because I've not yet upgraded my Figma to premium, meaning that to access this place you have to upgrade your Figma. The good side about it is that you can use Figma for free without any hassle. Going down here is explore community. I see this place as a place of inspiration, but it's a place for other Figma users or other Figma designers. If you click it, it will lead you into something like this. Here you see inspiration, design sync, design system, visual assets, and other stuff. So wherever you want to look for inspirations or connect with other designers, this is a tab you go to. As you can see, these ones are jobs or they are designs that designers have actually posted on Figma community. Going over here, we have our design file. When we click that, it will redirect to a page like this. The center here is called canvas. While we have our frame, we have our assets, we have our page one. If you are very conversant with designing, you should know what layers are. Layers, they are toggle that represent the element hierarchy when designing. Let's take, for example, I want to choose a shape and I draw it. You see it redirected to the layers panel. And some things are being changed by the right hand side, which is called the options bar. The options bar, they are here to add extra features to whatever you have chosen. I might just choose to increase the width, the height, or even the rounded corners from the options bar. So that's all about the options bar. Like this one, I can add the rounded corners, maybe 60 or 80. And you see some changes are being made to the shape we have chosen. Under this place we have chosen, we have our move, which is to move around the canvas. Then the other one down here is to scale. The scaling is to just increase or reduce the size to whatever you want. So that's the purpose of the scale. Over here, which we have this hash tool, is known as the frame. The frame, these are templates. If you look by your options bar, you'll see some changes there. We have the phone, we have the tablet, we have the desktop. These are templates of which we use in designing. We may have projects. Let me take for example, I have a project to handle, and specifically the client said it's for a MacBook or it's for a desktop. I will just come over here and choose the preferred desktop I may want. It may be MacBook Air. Specifically, the client might also want, I want this MacBook to be Pro 14. You can just come here and choose Pro 14. It grabs out the exact size of a MacBook Pro 14. So that's the purpose of the frame. It also applies to when you want to choose for a phone. You can either come here to iPhone 14, you see different specification. So wherever time you are seeing this video, there might be iPhone 16, there might be iPhone 20. Just choose the one you may just want to choose. Then this is it. You can just bring it out, and that's all about the frame. Moving over here, all kinds of shape. We have a rectangle, the line, the arrow, the eclipse, polygon, and star. You can just come over here. This down place is when you want to import an image into Figma. You can just come over here and click it. Let me just import an image just so you guys can see. If you see, it will now bring out an extra feature at the top. The way to just tell you place this image or discard all. Surely we are going to choose place all, of which you see it brought out the image of which you wanted. Another way to do this is through another shortcut, which is known as Ctrl Shift K. Once you press Ctrl Shift K, it will just open up through your files. Then you can select the one you want. Throughout the course of this class, I will try my best to be giving you guys some easy shortcuts for you to be using. Over here is the pen tool, the shift tool, the pencil tool, whereas you can just experiment on this. And over here is the text. You can just apply text, just press enter, then you apply any text that you want. That's it. Is so tiny, and you can also make some changes at the options bar. Going to the resource panel, which comprises of components, plugins, and widgets. In another subtopic, I'm going to explain what components are and give you guys some examples. But plugins, what are plugins? Plugins are extra Figma features you can add to your design when you are designing. Let's take, for example, you are in need of icons. You can just go to plugins and search any icons you want. Let's just say icons, mockup, stock images, whatever you're looking for, you will see them in plugins. Let's just take, for example, want to choose an icon. I just run an icon called Icon Scout. If I pronounce that right, it's going to load some varieties of icons, which you can just choose the one you want. Going to widgets are extra functionalities you can also add to your designs. Like, I don't normally use them, but I use more of plugins because plugins kind of gives me what I want. So you can just search and explore this plugins icon. I can just say stock images. Let's just see the one, no plugins. Okay, stock images, and enter. Let's just see if there's any plugins for that. Like, we have on Splash here, we have pixels, we have color designers. Let's run on Splash and see what it gives us. This is your Unsplash plugin, and we have abstract, we have animal, we have architecture, art, and so on. Let's just say we want a picture about animals. We can just click animals and we'll see some varieties of fine looking good animals. Then to export this into your Figma board, we can just drag and drop. It's going to load, then for some while it will now display right here. So this is our parrot, very clear image, and that's how plugins are being used. Let's just cancel this, and I would like to save this image, so I won't cancel it. So this is all about plugins. Over here is the hand tool. It does the same work to move wherever you want around the canvas. Over here we have add comment. Is mostly used during collaborations when you are collaborating with other designers and you want maybe their remark on whatever you have done. You can just come here and click and add whatever comment, maybe change the icon used. So that's all about the add comment, and when you do this and you update it, it will just show right here. Just now you see I updated a comment right there. Whenever you do this, everybody on the team gets to see it. So that's all about the add comments. Having known these features here in Figma, I would like to show you guys how to enable your grids when designing. I will choose a frame to explain this example. I'll go with the iPhone 14 Pro. I can just come here and increase my corner radius, but how do you know if your corner radius is too much for a particular device? Let me show you how. Click this independent corners here and you will click these three dots down there. When you click the three dots, you will see iOS version here. There's a limit for it. So anything above this corner radius for this iOS is too much for this particular design. So that's how you know if your corner radius, when you're choosing a corner radius, if it's too much for a particular design you are going with. This is how you can go about it. To enable your grids, you come down here, you see layout grids, you click the plus. When you click the plus, you will see tiny lines just like graphs, but I don't make use of this grids. To enable the one that we'll be using in this course, just come over this place and enable columns. When you enable columns, you will see something like this. This one is much better, much more better. I'll go over to this auto here and just select maybe 15. It depends on the particular design, or it depends on the device you are designing on. I can just go with, let me just say 16. Having chosen this auto as 17, as we zoom in, you see that there is a distance from this place to this place. That's the purpose of our grid, and same thing applies to the other side. It's just to give a equal measurement of both sides when we are designing. The next function we are going to be looking at is the dev mode. I'm going to use the design to explain what dev mode is in Figma, which is known as the developers mode. To access this, we have to come over here and click it once, and it will tweak to developers mode. Once you do that, you will notice some changes in our Figma board. What this developers mode does is that it kind of connects designers and developers on the same page, making it very easy for a developer to inspect and find whatever they need in a particular design. Let's take for example, I click this text. If you notice, there are some changes by our right hand side. You will notice that this typography is being converted into code, making it very easy for a developer to use. You can just come over here and copy it. As we hover through other elements, you will notice there are specified setting to this particular element. You can connect your GitHub account or whatever account you are using as a developer straight up to Figma board, which is very easy. As we hover through all these elements, you will notice there are specified settings to each element here. Having known the base knowledge of what dev mode is, we are going to go into the next topic, which is auto layout. Hi guys, so before we continue the class, if you have been enjoying the class so far, I want you to click the subscribe button while we continue in this class. So see you guys in Figma. I'm going to show you guys how you can use an auto layout to a practical example. Let's type a text, hit T on your keyboard and press enter. So we are going to hit enter and type something like get started or sign in rather. Sign in. Okay. Once you do that, we're going to reduce the size. It's kind of too big. To do that, we just come over here and click something like 13, or let's increase it a little bit. Okay, this is perfect. We are going to introduce an icon. I already have one here, of which is this one. I'll bring it just to this side. Okay, we are going to zoom in and change the color of this icon to white. This is where an auto layout comes in. It helps you to kind of arrange your element together and save time. We are going to select these two text and the icon and hit auto layout just here. Is an auto layout, so you just click plus there. Under the auto layout tab, some settings are being opened where you can change the layout option to either vertical or horizontal. Some aligning options are also here, of which can align these two things either to top center or align center, and different kind of aligning options. You can also change the spacing option between them just like this, and also increase the padding of both sides. So this is increasing the padding. So if we should hit our Alt key in our keyboard, you will see that the aligning option, the padding for both sides, here is 25 and the other one is 25 also. So you see an auto layout helps you to reduce the stress of kind of aligning your text or wherever you want to align. You can also increase the top padding and the down padding also in auto layout. So these are some cool features you can do using auto layout. What if we decide to put this inside the button? Let's hit R on our keyboard to bring out the rectangle. Then we can just draw a shape, just something like this. Increase the corner radius to like 10. Enter. 10 is kind of much, so we'll reduce it. Okay, let's go with 5. Which is perfect. We're going to change the color to something very beautiful. Maybe this, drag and drop. But if you notice, it appears behind. So we're going to drag this sign in and everything front of the rectangle. So it appears at the front. But if you notice, we are not really seeing the sign in well. So we are going to change the color of the sign in button and the icon. So we'll just do that here. Can just change it to maybe the darker version of this blue. It's just an instance anyway, so we can just choose any color we want. Just same color. You can just carry this and pick, and you get the exact color of the one I use in the icon. We'll go to our aligning option, which is at this top here, and press this vertical center. So this is what I want. Let's copy this, and I want to show you guys an instance. So you drag everything and hit Ctrl D to copy. So once you do that, you drag one down. But what if we decide to like add extra text to this signing? Maybe change it and put password. Maybe something like password. Having done this, you will see that I have to come again and start resizing this rectangle behind it. This is when an auto layer comes in again. You can use auto layer to kind of fasten your job easily. So I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to cancel this. Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Once I do that, I'm going to drag this to and hit an auto layout here. So this is an auto layer to press the plus. And when I do that, you will see that nothing actually changed. But if I should copy this one more time and I drag it down here and I decide to add extra text to it, this is what happened. You will see it increases. So if I want to add that password, I don't have to come again and resize the shape. I will just have to press password and you see everything becomes resilient. So I can just come press password and you see it aligns automatically. So this is one of the functions of auto layout. Let's look at another example. I have this set of icons that are here. If you're wondering what this whole pack is, I purposely gathered them together like this just for a reason. So we are going to use an auto layout to kind of arrange it because we have to explore everything concerning an auto layout. So we are going to drag everything. So you drag everything down here. You can come over to this place where you have your component and hit multiple components. Once you do that, you go to your auto layer tab and press this auto layout plus. Tada! Magic! So it automatically arranged it. So these are one of the functions of auto layout, which you can change the vertical layer to horizontal and also the padding. Isn't it very easy like this instead of arranging it individually? So having known this, we're going to put this inside a frame. I'll choose a phone. I'm not going with an iPhone this time. So I'll choose a phone, an Android phone, Android large, and choose another frame. Hit F on your keyboard and choose Android small. Once we do this, I'm going to carry this frame that we just turned into an auto layout, these icons, and hit key on our keyboard to reduce the size. So when you hit key on your keyboard to scale, you reduce the size. We are going to drag this inside this frame. So we are going to zoom in. Then you drag and drop. But before we do that, the reason why I chose these two separate sizes is just to explain another example of auto layout. We are going to hide one of this icon, which is this filter icon. So we go to the layers panel and hide it. Just this small eyeball. Just tweak it and it will hide. Again, we are going to drag this and put inside the frame. We'll reduce the size. Let's zoom in a little bit and reduce the size and drag it down here. We'll increase the space within them, something like this, and center align it at the top here. Once you do that, you will see it automatically center align. What if we decide to copy this and put it in the other frame? So we hit Ctrl D on our keyboard and duplicate and copy it to the other frame. So we just place it right here. So this is the part where I want to show you guys. Let's go to this frame and find that icon we blocked. So this is the frame 11 and find that filter icon we blocked and unblock it. What do you notice? Everything kind of scatters. It doesn't auto arrange on this particular frame. So this is where an auto layout comes in again. Let's use an auto layer to auto align this thing to the frame. You will just duplicate this by hitting Ctrl D on our keyboard and drag it up. Then we'll go to this place where we have the spacing and this button here, you click it where we have auto. So it set the fixed width to auto. Once we do that, let's remove this one outside the frame. It's like we double duplicated it, but let's still remove it. In fact, we don't need it again, but let it just be there. We are going to take this one, we turn the width or the fixed width to auto space and drag it down here. Let's center align it, though it's centered align, but we just have to double check. We go to the frame of this one we just turned into auto and go to that filter icon of which we blocked and unblock it. Once you do that, you will see it auto aligns to the frame, and when we block it, it auto aligns to, and unblock, it auto aligns. So this is one of the uses of auto layout to kind of reduce the workload of you coming to resize your icons. So this is it here. Let me just tweak it over so you guys can see. When I unblock it, it aligns to the normal way from the other frame. But when we unblock the other one, it realigns according to the size of the frame. In this segment, we are going to be discussing on components. What is components? Components are reusable elements you can use when designing. Let's take for an instance this button. So we are going to copy this button and hit Ctrl D on your keyboard and drag it all out here. So let's drag it outside this frame. Let's put it in a frame. So I'm going to put F in your keyboard and select the frame. I'll go with the iPhone 14 Pro as usual and place this inside the frame. So let's increase the size a little bit. So I'll just increase it to something like this and center align it. What we're going to do next is we are going to copy this frame as many times we can. So let's copy this and hit this frame and hit Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, and Ctrl D, Ctrl D. Okay, this set is enough. Why did I copy this in so many formats like this? This is it. Let's take for instance, you're working on a project and the client says, okay, we don't want this color of button again, that you should change it to a pink color or a purple color, or whatever color they might choose. And you have already used this exact button in different interfaces. How are you going to solve this problem without manually changing the color? You can solve that through a component. Let me show you how. So let's go to this first frame and zoom in. I'm going to select this button. Let's copy everything and go to this diamond icon at the top there and just press it to create component. Once you do that, you see it shows a purple color kind of both on the layers and this place. So we are going to copy this when we turn into a component and drag it out like this. Okay, let's just take this exact button and place it here and do the same for other copies. So we're going to do Ctrl D again and drag the same thing here. Ctrl D, drag the same thing in this place. Ctrl D, drag the same thing here also. Okay, we're going to just stop here just because of the time. These ones I copied out here, they are called an instance. Why this one is called the master component. So this one is a master component and this one I copied into other frames, they are called the instance. So we are going to change the color of this master component. So you will see the differences between a master component and an instance. So let's select the master component just like this and change the color. Okay, our suppose client said he want the color to be purple. So we are going to come here and go to this purple side and choose purple. What do you notice? That when changing the color of the master component, it changed the color of all the instances. So this is how you can solve a problem. So don't mistake it, because you can change the master component and it will reflect on the instances, but you cannot change the instance and it will reflect on the master component. So get that right. So you can change the master component to any preferred color you want to reflect on the instances, but you can't change the instance color to reflect on the master component. Hope I'm not confusing you. We can also change the color of this sign in button. So to do that, we will just go to this same place and select the blue color and choose whatever color we may like to use, like this white. And when you do that, it all reflects on the instances. So like I said, let me just do a little recap. When you make changes to your master component, it reflects on all the instances. But when you make changes to your instances, it cannot and it can never appear on your master component. So having known that about components, we'll go into the next topic, which is variant. What are variants? Just like the name implies, variant is when you can just create something and do it in different formats, like this button now, because in UI and UX designs we tend to create different variations of buttons, just like for example an inactive state of an icon and active state of an icon. Let's take this sign in button for an instance. Let's drag it all outside the frame. So to access this variant, we'll go over to this plus sign up here and add our variant, or we come over to these properties and click this plus and we can also access variant there. But if you notice, I like giving you the shortest way you can access it to, which is this place here. So you can add your variant at the top there. Once you do that, you will see it created another version of the sign in button. But let's take for an instance, I want to create a typeface where I don't need the icon. You grab. So to do that, I can just come over here and remove this one and hit my backspace. So once I do that, due to our auto layout, it realigned. So having done that, I'm going to name this one. Come over here. I will name this property one. I'm going to name this one icon or button with icon. I can just use the shortest way, but then a dash just to rectify that this button has an icon, because I'm very very bad in naming, so that you guys can understand why this one I will change the name to just button. So just but heading to this frame where we put our instances, I will just come to this place and click this button. Let's now take for an instance, I want to now change this button to the one that doesn't have an icon. I can just come to these properties here, and under this toggle where we have this bot icon and bot. So this bot icon is the one with icon, and this bot here is the one without icon. So I can just come here and click this bot, and what happens, it changes to the button without icon. Let's create another variation using this same button. So this button, I want it to be the outline version of this main button. So what do I mean? I can just come here to make it an outline version of this main button. I will come to this place and change this color and block the color. Then I'll go to my stroke and put my stroke. So this is simply an outline version of this one. So let me change the color of this black. I can just come here and pick this color. So this one is called an outline version of this one. So I can just also change the color so it doesn't blend in into the white background. Go to this color picker and choose this one. We are heading somewhere. I can name this one outline. So it's no longer but outline. Outline, and this one I can just put it as button without outline. So button without, it's too long kind of, without outline. So going to our board where we have our instances, we can just come over here. If we choose to put it to a button with outline, we can access it through the property panel. We come here and choose outline. So what happens is that it automatically changed to outline. Having explored what variant is with practical examples, I will dive into the main one where I'll be showing you guys how to make a design responsive. Using this design, we are going to make it responsive. What do I mean responsive? Let's just zoom in and increase or expand this width. What do you notice? When I increase the width of this, the design or the main design didn't move to the rate at which I drew the width of the frame. So making a design responsive means that whatever width or height I tend to expand a frame, the design is supposed to move in its accurate position to that direction. So let's make this design responsive. I'm going to hit Ctrl Z on this, and let's start with the header where we have this time and the battery side. If you notice, they're in a group, and to create a responsiveness, we have to select each of them differently. So let's ungroup it. You right click and come to this ungroup and ungroup them. Okay, now they are different. Let's select this one just like this and head over to your constraints. What's the position of this side I selected? Is by the right hand side. So we are going to set the constraints to the right and also to the top, so that when I draw this frame, it's going to stick to the right. Let's do the same for this. The position of this one is by the left hand side, so we are going to stick it to the left and also to the top. Okay, hope we are getting this right. Coming down here where we have this home page, this little dude here, and this search icon, they're also in a group, so we have to ungroup them. We'll right click and ungroup. Let's start with this dude here by setting its constraints to the right here and to the top. Okay, then this home page, the position of this home page is by the center, so we are going to select its constraints to the center. So center here and center there. Moving to this search icon, the constraints is by the left hand side, so we set the constraints to the left and also to the top. Coming over here, we don't have to ungroup them because it's going to be a lot of work setting their constraints individually. So we can just set the constraints just here. Okay, let's set the constraints. It's at the center, so we are going to set the constraints just at the center here. So we have center here. Moving to this white frame, the direction of this white frame is on both sides because it's from here to this side. So the constraint is going to be from the left to the right. Okay, you grab that. So we can come over here and we'll see down this toggle, we see left and right. So we click left and right, and also here we can come over and click center. So you can align at the center and also move to the left and also to the right. Hope we are getting this. Coming to this name here, we can select the constraints to the center because the name this Alex Lenderson is by the center. So we are going to set the constraints to the center. Everything center here, center here. I'm going to do the same for all these names right here. Having set the constraints of all these names to center alignment or center constraints, we are left with this one. So the downboard, we are going to select its constraints to the center. So it's going to be at the center. Let's experiment what we have done. So I'm going to hit the frame. Okay, just like this. Let me zoom out just like this and drag the design up. Okay, let's experiment our width. Let's increase our width. What do you notice? Our design is now responsive. You see that when we draw the width of this, everything becomes responsive. Having explored responsiveness or how to create a responsive design using constraints, we'll go into the last topic for this tutorial, which is how to prototype. What is prototype? Prototype in Figma is used to connect frames together or to create a flow. Let's take for example, you are in a chatting app, for example WhatsApp, and you open your WhatsApp and you want to click someone's name, and you know when you click it, it's going to lead you inside the chat you guys have had. So that's what we're going to be doing in this module. We are going to be creating a flow so that when we click this Alex Lenderson, is going to lead us into the second frame. And going down here to this navigation board, where we have this message icon. This message icon is the active state of this particular interface, while all these ones here are inactive. So what we're going to be covering in this module is that we are going to be creating a flow so that when we click this course, it's going to turn to an active state, and same time it's going to lead us to this third frame. Let's get into this. The first thing to do to access your prototype menu is to come to this prototype up here and you'll see prototype and click it. If you have enabled your prototype feature, you should be seeing something like this, where we have interactions here. You can add different kind of flows to your design. This scroll behavior here, I'll be explaining it in another YouTube video. So let's stick to this one. What we are going to do here is to connect this inactive course section to this course section. Then also connect this message, this inactive message. So when we click it, it can lead us back to this active message. Then the next thing is to connect this Alex Lenderson to this next frame. So when we click it, it's going to lead us to this next frame. So to go back to home page, or to go back, because we're in the chat now in this second frame, we're in the chat zone. So to go back to the home page, to create that, we're going to use this sign, this back sign, to navigate and prototype back to the home page. So let's quickly do that. Let's click this core icon. You will see plus around this element just like this. You can drag anyone that you prefer and link it to the third page. So this is what we are going to do. So we are going to drag it and link it to this third page. Now it brought us some interaction icon of which you can add flows to it. It's going to be on tab because we want it that when we tap on it, it's going to lead us to the course section. Then you go to smart animate. I selected smart animate. Okay, that's perfect. Going back to this message, you select this message element or this message icon and link it back to the first frame, just like this. The other settings that we used for the previous one has been auto saved, so there's no need to change anything here. So we have created the second flow. We are going to connect this Alex Lenderson to this second frame. So we just do it like this and connect it. It's already saved. We have one prototype left, which is to connect this arrow back to the home page. So we click this arrow and connect it, draw it and connect it back to the first frame. So let's check what we have actually done. But before that, you can go over to this prototype settings and add a device. So to give this realistic feel that we are testing it on a smartphone, I'm going to choose iPhone 13 mini. Once you have done all this here, you hit this play button to play what we have actually prototyped. So this is the realistic iPhone 13 mini that we chose. So let's check if what we prototype actually worked. So I'm going to click this call icon to see if it will lead me inside the third frame. I'm clicking it now and it led me inside the third frame. So we are going to click this message icon to check if it will lead us back to the home page. So this is it. It led us back to the home page, leading to this cylinder scene to check if it's going to lead us inside the chat. And it led us inside the chat. Going back to the home page, I'm going to click this arrow right here and click it. You see it led us back to the home page. So this is a little bit of how to prototype. Let's look at another example. I have this button that we have created from previous tutorials. What we are going to do is to put this in a component and create a variant. Adding a variant will change the second color to a lighter color of it. So something like this would do. You head up to your prototype menu. The next thing we are going to do is to connect this frame to the second frame. So we are going to connect this to the second frame. The interaction here is going to be while hovering, because we don't want to press it. We just want the interaction. When we hover through it, it's going to change the color just like that. So you choose while hovering and your smart animate. You go over to this your asset and drag out this asset. Now this asset is a combined interaction of these two interactions we did here. We are going to put this in a frame and check if it actually worked. After running the prototype, let's check if it actually worked. I'm going to hover through this button and see if it gives me that interaction. So this is it, and when I go out it becomes darker. So this is the interaction we created using our prototype. If you made it up to this side of the class, I would like to tell you congratulations and see you guys in another video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, like and share.